my wife was like, this around January, she was like, hey, I'm done. I want a divorce. I hate you. There's nothing you can do to change my mind. See ya. Literally, right? It's pretty well burned. I remember exactly where I was. She had texted me this, actually. She texted it to me. She didn't even say it to me. She texted it to me. I was in the bathtub at the time. I literally remember it perfectly. The bathtub at my mother-in-law's. Like, I'm getting real specific.
It's the restored man. This really sucks. I was using the metaphor of like the picture that you delete on your phone and then you go into trash and then it asks you a question. Would you like to restore this picture? Right? And what does that mean? It means to what? To put something back where it comes from. To put something back where the argument can be made it belongs, right? And that idea is what I've experienced. Like, I feel that I definitely was disconnected from what I knew to be true about who I am, about what it means to be a man, about masculinity, right? About my relationship with God, all that. And so I felt like a photo that was deleted and I was like disconnected from like truth, let's say. And I was conditioned to believe the most limiting thoughts about myself, that I'm not worthy, that I'm not good enough, that I'm not lovable, right? And when to be restored is what? It is to return to the truth that I actually am worthy, that I actually am lovable, that I actually am good enough. And that's to me what God does. He restores a person, just like we restore a photograph. And that's what the restored man is to me. But the reason why I was bringing it up was because Chris knows me. Chris knows the work that I've been doing for the last 5, 6 years, and more intimately than most. Right? He's known Richard when he sucked at coaching, but also still ended up getting a killer result. And now he knows Richard now that he's good at coaching. Or at least I'm more
Better.
embodying better. But yeah, right, better. And yeah, man, I would just personally love to create some space and provide value to our listeners by you sharing just your story, and especially within the context of you and me, and what has happened since in your life, in the four walls of your home, and in your restoration, I guess.
All right. Yeah, dude. So let me think. So 2000, what was it? 2022 when we first connected?
God, was it then?
It was 2022. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because I was heading over to a hypnosis training. If you remember, you like slid into my DMs like some kind of desperate homegirl. Just kidding. It's like slide. No, you slid there smoothly, actually, like very smoothly.
Stop
You're like
saying
you're like
that.
you're like you're like you're like you're like I really like you. I really like your content. Something like that. I'd have to look back. All right.
Yeah.
Don't quote me totally on this. So, and then I was in the airport heading to a hypnosis training, and you're like, hey, I forget if you said like, hey, let's get on a call or something or whatever. I'm like, sure. It wasn't like a sales conversation or anything. That was just to like connect.
Yeah, we just connected.
Yeah. And so we started talking. We were jiving. I don't remember totally what the conversation about, but it was like we were just getting to know each other. And then I ended up going to this hypnosis training, which was like a 5-day or so training. I think then we reconnected after. And I don't remember the timelines totally of when we started working together, but later on, listen, I signed up to work with Richard when he was still, I think you were still living out of your car at the time.
I was homeless as fuck.
Yeah, right? Yes.
Yeah.
May?
The spring?
Oh, it might have been March. Yeah, around March.
Yeah.
When I first saw Richard's head, I didn't look at his head at first. What drew me in at first is like, I think I found him in another group. I love the way he wrote, right? So I really connected with how he wrote. I really connected to my experience at the time, because in 2021, like my wife was like, this around January, she was like, hey, I'm done. I want a divorce. I hate you. There's nothing you can do to change my mind. See ya. Literally, right? It's pretty well burned. I remember exactly where I was. She had texted me this, actually. She texted it to me. She didn't even say it to me. She texted it to me. I was in the bathtub at the time. I literally remember it perfectly. The bathtub at my mother-in-law's. Like, yeah, I'm getting real specific here.
P.S. You ugly and your breath stank.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, I can tell you all the things. She's Latina, so listen. We can go into how she's a Scorpio. We can go how crazy this could go, right? Oh, and what happened in that moment was like, so we've been having like struggles for a bit, right? Like pretty, whatever. I didn't think we were gonna get divorced over it, even though she told me multiple times, like, I'm gonna divorce you for years. But me being the awesome man, the typical man at the time, I was just like, whatever, And then you get taken aback when it actually happens, right?
Yeah.
And every woman is like, how did you not know? Well, I don't know. It's something with the male biology and psyche sometimes. Okay, we're a little whatever special. So, or we just don't take it seriously. We're like, nah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So she sends me this message. I literally have almost like the best way to say it is like just a flashing of memories and images, right? I've been blaming her for a long time. I'm like, this is her fault. She's causing all these problems. What's her deal? And in that moment when she sent that message, I had like I don't know, maybe I don't like the word download, but like it was like the flash back to all these memories and going through them and showing me where I was actually the problem. It was like the clearest
Mhm.
view of me being the problem. So I'm like, oh crap. And in that moment, there was like a
Mhm.
switch went off, right? And I started course correcting. But of course, I'm course correcting when the ship has already sunk, right? So now I got to scuba dive. And it's funny. And she related this to me. I want to say in 2024. Yeah, she related this at this relationship um, experience I was teaching, and she related this to everyone there that it was like literally overnight. I changed overnight, like she said, literally, and she didn't know what to do with it because like how I operated changed, and there was a lot more work to do in that point, like dealing with all the stuff going on. And there's a lot of stuff that came up for that year. So like that year, what I first did is I joined some kind of men's group, right? This is before me and Richard, and that helped to an extent. And I kind of stopped that after 10 months,
Mhm.
and that just took me as far as that particular vehicle is going to take me. And then probably about 4 5 months later is when you and I connected,
Yeah.
where things were they were they were better. Like we had started reconciling probably in like November, somewhat. And when I say reconciling, I say that loosely. Like she was somewhat more willing, like 1%. Like she turned my direction,
Mhm.
and that's when we met and started connecting.
Yeah. We had an affair.
Yeah,
So you cheated on your wife with me is really what happened, and which is not to make it weird, but
you were a lot softer, you know.
I was a lot more feminine. Um, yeah, man, I remember I was having like a power hour session for like $97. I can't believe I used to charge $97 for an hour of my time. Oh my god. Um, yeah, we had a power hour, and I remember that power hour because I was, homeless as heck, and I was at this kid's playground, right, by myself, and I was having the call. But those calls were where I shined, right? Like I'm not shining when I'm just like in the car and trying to survive and get custody of my kids back. I'm not shining when, I'm like in despair mode. But when on a and you know this because you're a practitioner too, it's nothing else matters, right? Like it's just like there's a whole ass other human being on the other line and they need help and I can help them, you know? And coaching is a designed alliance between the participant and the practitioner. And I remember that was a very profound conversation. I remember you had mentioned something to the effect of all you want to be in this life is just an embodiment of unconditional love,
yeah,
right? The embodiment of unconditional love. And that's where the white Jesus joke came from, right? It was like from there. And, we hit it off. And then I remember um, making an offer and you took me up on it. And then we just hit the ground running and we worked together for a solid year, I believe, right?
yeah. Maybe I think a little longer. Yeah, like I think we did like 3 months up front, and
Yeah.
then we did a year long. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you want to, do you want to speak to just what, not to suck me off, right? This isn't like dicks. My name is Dick, but this isn't a dick sucking thing. But like, I would love to really hear about hero's journey, your hero's journey of transformation and how we got here, because now you and I, present day, spoilers, where we both co-facilitate and run the Restored Man Mastermind, right? Which is, a group of high performing men who are very conscious, very mindful, and are all committed to becoming the most authentic, inspired, you know, masculine versions of themselves, right? And we've gone from friends to coach to client, and now we're partners in life, partners in crime, and helping men really um, restore themselves, right? So it's a heck of a journey, but I think there's some really key insights in who you became from my marriage is on fire to my marriage is on fire, right? That I feel could definitely provide some value.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot. Let me think of some. Let me think of some key points, because there is a lot. So I would say, just to do a broad view first, one of the one of the I actually remember that one of our conversations was hilarious because we had been working together for a while, and my wife still does not want to have sex with me, and you're like, this doesn't even make any sense. Like, what's wrong with your wife? I don't know if you said that. So my wife listens to this. You didn't mean it. All right. So, but it was like, you're like, this usually works in like 2 weeks. Here it's like, a few months later, and my wife's still like, no. You're like, is there something going on with me? Is there something? What's going on here?
What's
Like,
going
this
on?
doesn't
Yeah.
make sense, right? And I'm like, I know, man. I know. I'm telling you, this is a unique situation, right? And so went through all that. One of the biggest things I ended up learning, right? Because I got, especially with this reconciliation, I got involved in a lot of the masculine things, right? Like, I never finished reading it, but David Data, oh gosh, and whatever the whatever of a whatever man, whatever that is.
Yeah, The Way of the Superior Man
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Masculine
yeah,
Relations,
yeah,
Loving No One, Mr. Nice
yeah.
Guy. It's a short form.
Masculine relationship is one of my favorites, actually. So
Yeah.
I went through all this stuff and connected with people who were talking about masculinity and polarity, and that, like, a lot of that was a new world to me at the time, at that level, right? And so one thing, and this will be on a lot of people's journey, I feel like, as a man, is you start getting into that and you start going, yeah, yeah, this is the way. This is the way, right? Like, just follow this thing, just like rope, which there's utility to that at first, right? To kind of see what's working, what's not. What I learned in my unique situation, as it was unique, is I learned, like, because a lot of the things you're learning, well, if I just do like this, then she'll respond like this, instead of what I end up learning during our work together, especially we work through, was like, I'm just gonna be me, right? Like, the me at the core, beyond all, like, the limitations and the issues and the programming and whatever else, right? And that's the thing that really changed everything, right? Because it's like, I don't want my wife to be attracted to a this whatever made up idea of a masculine man, because it's very, like, this is what a masculine man is, right? Very linear. And I think this is probably important for a lot of men to hear, because a lot of times we might think, well, I'm not masculine because I don't fit like this. Not true. What our wives really want is for us to be who we actually are. And if our wife at the time does not want that, is not okay with that when we actually embrace that, then guess what? Not the woman for us, right?
Mm,
And that's a hard thing, because one of my biggest fears, probably at the time, if I remember correctly, it's hard to remember because I've cleared, like, most of this stuff up, is probably like a fear of loss,
yeah.
right? A fear of not being connected. It was a lot of it was like, the marriage was an idea. It was holding on to an
Mm.
idea more than anything.
I'm
So
curious. Can I ask you a question
yeah,
about that? Because you're touching on something really important. Yeah. Great suggestion, Wampa. Thank you. Um, you said, oh, what our wives really want is for us to be who we are, not a projected, right, interpretation of what it means to be a masculine man, right? Nowadays, I think one of the most prominent figures in this would be an Andrew Tate, who would be, shredded Ferrari, a lot of money, alpha dog. It's in the old paradigm of dominant, right? It's the overtly, very blatant, aggressive dominance. Now, granted, I think that every man needs access to that, right? We talked about that.
absolutely.
we all get to have all of what makes us us. And for a lot of us, we feel almost half complete because we were taught, happy wife, happy life. Don't upset the
Oh
apple
yes.
cart. Don't rock the boat. We just have to be affable, even nice, right? Kind. And that's it. We have to be very spiritual, be very, like accessible and not a threat. But then we divorce ourselves from our edge. We divorce ourselves from our aggression, our assertiveness, our confidence, right? I'm going somewhere with this. Essentially, you said our wives want us to be who we really are. Can you speak to how did you know when you were not being who you really were? What does that look like?
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of it, like the simplest
Mhm.
way to discover that is like, where is their tension inside of me, right? Because that was the biggest indicator. Like, because when you're being you, when you're really connected to your essence, you're like, it's smooth, it's free flowing, right? And
Yeah.
there's gonna be conflict, there's gonna be tension in a relationship, but what I mean is more of the internal tension. Like if you're walking around and you can feel like on edge, right? It can feel like waiting for something to go off, like you're waiting for a
Mhm.
bomb to explode. You're kind of overthinking what you're gonna say. Like, okay, let me make sure to say this right. Those are all signs you're not being connected to who you really are, right? Because
Mm. Yeah.
right now, like most of the time, I don't think before I speak. People like feel like that's terrible, Chris. No, it's actually not. Because when I say that, I'm not saying I'm an idiot, right? Like I'm just
Yeah.
speaking idiotic things, like how most people interpret that. It just means I'm coming from presence,
Mm.
and that might be hard to get if you had limited experience being present, which most of us have,
Yeah.
right? Especially as men, because the thing is, when you push down your emotional experience, you disconnect yourself from presence because that's how that works, right? And
Mm.
so most of us, it's not that we need to. I think this is another issue we talked about with, like, if we want to go on this topic of this linear masculinity, is thinking that, like, oh, I should be stoic. I shouldn't share anything with my wife emotional whatsoever. If I share it, I'm being feminine or whatever. Okay. Right. Like stupid.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's that very binary black and white thinking. Now, if I'm dumping my emotional experience on my wife, yes. But I want to share my world with my wife, not in a way that she needs to like fix me, which she might want to do that, but that's not my issue. Right. And that's the other thing, is a lot of us learned to be responsible for other people's emotions, especially our wife. So we're like, oh, I got to make sure everything stays good, so I don't have to deal with that. And a lot of it's because we didn't learn how to deal with our emotions properly. And so then we get terrified of our emotions. So if we're terrified of our wife's emotions, do you think that makes her feel safe? No.
Yeah.
Right. So when I'm okay, when I'm being me, when I'm good being me, and I express that, my wife naturally feels more safe, which is why she wants it, whether she's saying it directly or not. Right. Like that's what our wives
Mm.
want. Right. And that's what we want from our wives in the end. Right. We want them to be real.
I feel like you're touching on a very, very important, very nuanced distinction. I sound like a pretentious prick, but I think this is important though. The distinction of a man trying to be masculine, right?
Yes.
Trying to be something, trying to adhere to these ideas, chop wood, right? Go to the gym, get shredded. All these things are good, mind you, right? But it's this idea of I'm trying to put on this mask so that I can get a result.
Yes.
That what I'm hearing you say is that that's inauthenticity. When there's some dude on the internet who's like, you got to man up, right, in order to get your woman back. Oh, okay. So I guess I need to be more stoic, or I need to be more this performative masculine aspects. Right? I need to be more stoic. I need to not share anything with her. Just nose to the grindstone. Wear tighter t-shirts. Right? Whatever the case may be. But in fact, that trying is actually disconnecting you from the person you love the most as well.
Yeah.
And it's that I think it's important that we dispel the notion that we don't have masculinity, that we have to try and aspire to it, or we have to try and reach it, right? You're like, I am now at level 2. Level 2 is when I can finally be masculine, right? It's no, that's innate. It's inside of you. You are already designed with instincts. And what I love about what you're saying is that when we slow down and we open ourselves up to our emotional experience, to our emotions in general, right? And we allow ourselves to feel deeply and feel powerfully, what can we feel? We feel ourselves. And I remember that was a huge element of us, right? Like working together, you would have these moments of experiencing yourself and how you really felt, and actually sitting with the pain of being heartbroken, sitting with the pain of being lonely, and feeling misunderstood, right? And what I remember clear as day is when you allowed yourself to feel those things fully for you, it activated this raw power that felt congruent and authentic with you. And that raw power is, okay, who I am absolutely can say no, right? In my marriage, I can say no. I can say I don't like that. I can say I don't want that. I can say I don't want to be spoken to this way. You began this process of setting standards and actually having boundaries, like with yourself. You knew where you ended and where you began. So there became this the essence of masculinity is containment, right? It is structure. And within the context, like a human soul is crazy. It's like it's all over the place, right? Like we just want to be everywhere, but the masculine creates this idea of containment. And so now there's structure to the context of who we are. Okay, I actually believe this. I value these things. These are my boundaries. These are my standards. I go to the gym 4 times a week, right? Like I won't allow my wife to judge me, blame me, or name call. Okay, wow. There's there's a wall here. There's structure. I can't get past it, right?
Yep.
And that, I remember you becoming so much more solid. And that solidity, I feel, translated to, your work with your clients, right? Because you were able to hold even more space for them. You're able to hold even more space, which allowed your wife to feel even safer around you because there's no mask, and you can sit and be with all of yourself, and as a result we can sit and be with all of her,
Yeah.
right? So that's what I'm hearing you say, is that when we finally allow ourselves to be ourselves, and ourselves is naturally masculine, it's naturally contained, like it's innate within us, including the desire to devote, the ability to devote ourselves to one woman, to be like, I want to give you the world, but not so that I'll be okay. I want to give you the world because you inspire me. And that shift and I'm going to let you talk now, but like that shift from obligation to devotion too was another shift that I saw you do, not just in marriage, but in business. Like you served the restored man just out of the goodness of your heart, just because you were so like committed and devoted to this work and to the guys that were there. And that became a partnership, right? So, yeah, man, I really, really love it. Like they just want us to be ourselves, and who ourselves is, it doesn't involve putting on a mask or putting on a show.
Yeah. And so what you reminded me when you were speaking there was what came up really distinctly was I remember this conversation, which was there was a decision. I don't remember how the conversation went up until that point, but this conversation is like going all in my marriage at some point during
Mhm.
our work together, like really going all in. And I was like, I am going all in, right? I swear. Yeah, right. That's what I believe, right? And a lot of us, this is the thing. For men, a lot of us believe we did everything. We believe I did it all. She doesn't value anything I do. She doesn't appreciate me. I can tell you, I've had those thoughts. Like men hearing that are going to have those thoughts, right? It's normal, and you didn't. I just want to put this out there real quick. You didn't. Let's just call it. So I remember the time when I decided to go all in, and what it meant is this is the thing that happened. When I decided to do this is when I understood it. Going all in my marriage, it means I'm going to go fully and embrace all the pain, I'm gonna embrace the fact that I can show up fully and that she's still gonna say, I don't want you. Right. I'm gonna embrace all the hurt from the past, everything. So it was in that moment where I'm like, I'm going all in, I'm embracing it all. I'm gonna enjoy it all to the best of my ability. Like I'm
Mm,
gonna eat this pain, right? Like embrace it, metabolize it, whatever you want to call it. And that was a pivotal moment in all of that.
mm,
And one thing my wife said to me later on, I think this was maybe in 2023. Yeah, 2023 sometime. She was like, if I felt for a moment that you were doing any of this for me, I would have never even considered reconciling.
mm.
And that was like a mic drop moment, right? Because I think most guys get this wrong, especially with the idea of happy wife, happy life. It's like, oh, well, if you just make her happy, and then the guys are surprised when it doesn't work out. I'm like, well, that's why it didn't work out. It's because you're trying to make her happy. That's your first mistake. And it sounds
Mm.
backwards until you really get it. So I was like, because she's like, well, I can't trust if you were doing it for me because that's not a solid foundation, right? That can go because she knows that she's like this, like flying with the wind, right? Because I like to use the metaphor as like, if you can think of the man as like, the flag pole and the woman is the flag,
Yeah.
right? And it's like that's a simple metaphor. The flag's gonna wave all over the place, and you just get to be the pole, like flexible but firm.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So she said that to me, and again, it was profound because she's like, I knew you were doing this for you. One other
Mm,
thing that happened, um, that correlates to this is I was playing with one of our sons, and she was looking at me, just like staring at me, like, and I'm like, what? She's like she was like looking deep into me. She's like, you really love yourself, don't you? This is one of the moments that happened during there, and I was like, yeah. But it wasn't like I went to the mirror this whole time and went, I love myself. I love myself. I didn't affirm I love myself because that's just, we talk about
yeah.
affirmations. We know how I feel about affirmations. Garbage. Anyways, so like, because loving yourself isn't words, it's action, right? Love is action. Like,
Mm,
and that's the thing. So when we can say I love my wife, but what's the fruit? Like, what am I actually showing, right? And the fruit's not in performance. So this is how I would say this is the model most of us operate as humans and as men, especially in relationship. And this is where I was, is performance. If I just be good enough, if I just work hard enough, perform enough, if I just give her enough, then I can be accepted. Then I can be
yeah.
loved. And it's a never ending pit that never gets filled. And so then anytime it looks like I've performed and she didn't love me, then it's a personal insult,
Mhm.
right? Because I've been performing for you. Actually, no, you haven't. And this is the biggest lie of all. You've been performing for you. Like I was performing for me for my own internal sense of safety.
Mm,
It wasn't even actually even about her. So really, I was just like, using her in a sense. And this is what is really hard for a lot of us as men to realize is this isn't a judgment against yourself, but it's also facing the truth. Is that yeah, part of your unconscious safety pattern was to basically try to get something from someone else so you could feel safe, not to make them feel
yeah.
safe like you've convinced yourself.
Yeah,
So
that's the Robert Glover calls that the nice guy. Right. It's the person who puts everybody's needs ahead of his own in order to in order to feel safe and secure. If everyone's happy, right? I'll be okay. If I wash the dishes, I might get late. If I
which
never
which
rock the
women
boat.
smell that from a gazillion miles away. They could smell it from
No,
a different galaxy, right?
yeah, man. It's highly intuitive. It's like I always say. I told you this, right? It's like their antenna is 10 miles up in the air.
Well, and here's the thing: it could be literally the craziest woman. I mean, she could be in a psych ward, and that antenna is still accurate.
That's a whole different basket of cats because we tended to put women who were just like opinionated into psych
Okay,
wards.
yeah, but like I'm talking about a legitimately crazy woman, right? Like a legitimately crazy woman, her senses are still accurate. So this is why I say, like in every criticism our wife might give us, it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, we don't want to let her constantly criticize us, but there's also a gift in the criticism, even when it's delivered not great, is that
yeah.
there's a level of truth in it if we let ourselves be open and be curious. So that was another thing. Being curious was like the ultimate superpower
Mm.
in the relationship,
So if
right?
you had to break it down into just like steps, like three huge ways that you actually turned your marriage around, what would you say that they were?
So it was 100% responsibility,
Hmm.
and tying into that is like commitment. right? Like the going all in. So
Yeah.
literally claiming ownership over everything. Not this is the weird thing. What I was doing before was like what you could call like 200% responsibility, where I was trying to claim her emotions and her things.
Yeah.
And that's how most people think 100% responsibility is, but it's not. So 100% responsibility was like, hey, I'm creating this in some way. I'm contributing at least. Let me see what my part is and let me see what's there for me so I can course correct.
Yeah.
And she can do whatever she wants. Right.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of that because before it's like out of fear, I want to control. I want to make sure like she feels a certain way, right? Like a lot of subtle control. So 100% responsibility and commitment um, is one. So if I broke it down to a couple other ones, it would be curiosity would be in there.
Mm.
Like curiosity is a master key, like discovery, exploration, wonder. So instead of assuming a certain thing or assuming what I'm thinking is actually reality, I get to actually like be curious about it and actually identify what's the real truth underneath all the noise.
So master the skill of being curious.
Yeah. And then it's a I'm trying to think of how to sum it up. It's like it's acceptance, right? But there's a lot of broadness to that, and it's acceptance, it's allowance, it's surrender, it's it's this willingness.
I think that's fantastic. Accept, allow, surrender as a step.
Yeah. And focus, which kind of like encompasses around all of those. Where my focus was before was what she was doing wrong, what she wasn't doing, how she wasn't fulfilling my needs, right?
Yeah.
And my new focus became on like, well, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? Where how I want this relationship to be as a byproduct. So I started looking at things as byproducts.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. It's so interesting. It's like, well, what does GS Youngblood say? Your wife is always responding to you. And so, not that she is to be used, right? But like, but you absolutely can notice and observe her as the barometer for how you're being, for how you're showing up. Because most men, especially within like this conversation around polarity and helping your wife be feminine, right? Or you be masculine and she will be feminine, a plus b equals c, this like, linear process. It's deeper than that. It's the more you that you are, which includes your god-given masculinity, the more her she'll feel safe enough to be,
Yeah,
right?
and to the point you're talking about these ideas, that's another point is detachment.
Mm,
I stopped caring about how she responded or if she responded a certain way, right? I just stopped
yeah.
caring about her. See, this is a nuance because people think detachment means you don't care about the person. Actually, no, I care about her deeply. I just stopped worrying or needing her to respond in a certain way.
What is
Which
Anthony DeMello, I think it was. Anthony DeMello, he wrote the book Awareness. He said something to that point. He said, "You can never love someone you need. You can only manipulate them."
yeah. And I'll say this to that because especially in the pop psychology world of today, dude, there's ideas
Mm,
everywhere, attachment styles, blah 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 blah, right? So there's this idea of need, and I would say there's two different needs.
mhm,
There's the needy, which is the fear based. I'm not going to get it, and then there's need in a different way,
mm.
right? Like I can say I need my wife, and that not come from fear, right? So there's this actually important distinction and nuance there too. And again, most people try to black and white this, and I get it, especially for sound bites on the internet. But it's like to say you need someone is not it's not weak, it's not fear. It can be. It's like if I need you because I'm not gonna feel okay if I don't have you. It's like, no, that's not what I'm saying when I'm saying I need my wife. It's like I want you in my life. And you can go into the want, but also need is not bad either. I think is an
Mhm.
important distinction. It's just like what kind of need is it? Is it one like where you're needing it to feel okay and to feel whole, then there's work to do, right? But if you're like, hey, I really do need you in my life. You make my life better. That's absolutely what we want in a relationship. We want the person we're with to help us to expand
I
what's
think what
already
you're
there.
talking about, what I'm hearing, and then we'll wrap up. But this is great, man. Like I love hearing you talk about this. Thank you.
Yeah, dude.
I think the distinction that you're speaking to is when need is a choice, it's very sovereign, it's very empowered. And when it's not a choice, we're, you know, at the mercy of our subconscious mind. We're at the mercy of our fears. We're at the mercy of our behavioral patterns of let me be and mold myself into whoever I need to be in order to keep this person in my life, right? Which creates this really toxic, dynamic where I will shapeshift and morph into someone that I'm not in order to be okay. That's self abandonment, right? Like I will sacrifice my own authentic expression and essence in order to keep this whole ass woman around.
Yeah.
And but then for some reason she's unhappy with me because she knows that I'm being a fake fuck. And then I'm angry because she won't have sex with me. And well, I'm not, boom, like round and round we go. But what you're speaking to, I think, is if I need you and I don't even know that I need you, but I'm convinced of myself that I do, like that's disempowering. When I choose to need you, right? We choose to need each other.
Well, and
That's
we want to be chosen in that
yeah.
sense, right? Like who we want to be wanted, right? Especially as men. Like not because we need it, but who doesn't want to be wanted? Like if you're in a relationship with the other person, like, hey, I want you, I want to be with you. Great, right? There's one thing before we close up. There's one thing I do want to share because I feel this is very pertinent to the
Yeah.
journey, and that is the idea of creating your spouse.
Mm,
This was another profound point marker in my journey. So it was 2000, must have been 2023. 2000, no, it might have been 2022, 2023. I want to think, get all my dates messed up now. Yeah, 2023 was it? Whatever. We'll pretend. I'll look back later. So I encountered this book about a month previous, The Ultimate Coach, right? So some people who are listening might be familiar. And I don't remember. It was just coming across because I was surrounded by coaches and marketers and stuff, and started seeing this. And then I was like, "What's that? The Ultimate Coach? Okay, whatever." I ignored it at first. Then I got it, and I want to say I got it in February, and I devoured it. I read it in less than a week, like a few days. It's a huge book, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." And I ended up signing to go to a event in London with only like a few weeks. I had no passport at the time. I got a passport within like right before I was about to fly out. I got purchased a
mhm.
ticket before I even got the passport. It was a whole thing, right? And that's kind of one of the big premises of the book around creating and commitment. But in a book I was reading, I was on a trip with my wife and the kids. We were I think to Universal and Disney, and I was reading the book again. And there's a part where it talks about Steve, who the book is written about, is talks about how he creates his wife every single day.
Mm,
In that moment, it hit me like boom. It just like it was one of those things that just speaks to you. And he says it literally said how Amy's the most loving person in the world, blah blah blah. I'm paraphrasing. And I was like, oh, that's what I'm gonna do for my wife. So I stopped. I literally wrote, my wife is the most nurturing, loving, soft, beautiful woman in the world. Like she loves to you know, take care of me and love me and care for me, right? And she's a sexual goddess. I made sure to add that because that's important. Don't forget that, right? And now at the time,
sexual. That's
yeah,
2D,
sexual goddess, two D's,
2D.
two
Got
D's,
it.
two S's. At the time when I wrote that, that was actually couldn't be further from the truth. So that's the
Yeah.
thing. So I was writing something that was literally conflicting with current reality.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna explain why this is important because most people they're like, "Well, you're trying to change your wife?" No, actually. So I changed my view of my wife through creating her in this written
Mm,
document, which caused my behavior to change towards her even more.
mm,
Because I started saying, "Oh, she's like this," and even though the current reality was like not agreeing with it, I was like, "Okay, cool. I feel whatever I felt. Come back, and I'm like, this is how she is."
yeah.
And surely enough, over time, boom, 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 it happened. Like, right? She went from saying, "I'll never have sex with you again" to, "Well, that wasn't true." Like,
Mhm.
ugh, lies, right? Lies.
Dude, I think that that's definitely episode 2 material. Not your sex life, but like
Yeah.
the idea of, our spouse, our loved one isn't who you think they are, but they can be.
And they are who you think they are
Yeah.
in the negative sense. So when you're thinking of them negatively, guess what? You're
That's what
showing
you
up
get
and
more of, yeah.
you're helping create that behavior. It's like they're still responsible, don't get me wrong, but like again, this comes back to that idea of 100% responsibility. I'm 100% responsible for how I see myself, how I see others, how I see the world, right? Instead of being at the effect of all those influences.
Yeah. Yeah. This is gold, bro. This is gold. I'm taking notes, like on, and I live with you, so like
Almost, almost.
almost. But this is great, dude. We're gonna wrap up here. I'm pretty sure that we went over time because we both can be blabbermouths, but I thank you, man, for sharing this. I'm really excited for you and I to step further into sharing everything that we have with our audience on what helped us, create results in our lives that are different than the results that we were getting when we were lost in the wilderness, right? And I'm so proud of you. I really want to acknowledge you for being a man that when people ask me what I do, I can point to you, right? And I'm just like, well, I don't do him, right? But because we're both married and straight. But see that
You
kind of
tell people
man?
that, they're gonna start to wonder.
But I'll go, you see how he talks about his wife? You see how he treats his children? You see how he's lost 6 pounds like in 4 weeks? You see how he will go above and beyond for his clients? You see how he loves? That's what I do, right? I help him be more of that was already in there. He just got it in his own way. And so the greatest resume I could ever think about for a coaching career is you, bro. And I'm so proud of you and I love you with all my heart. And
Love you too, man.
I'm so excited to continue to serve men together.
Totally.
All right, let's F off. I'm going to let Chris take this. I'm going to let Chris take this one. Chris, what is the restored man? And, and
That's a nice.
work
That's a that's a nice that's a nice
precisely.
that's a nice cop out there, dude. Well,
Okay, fine.
you already said it though, right? And
I did. I did. I did.
I can speak to it. It's just like it's where you uncover who you really are. Let's just
It's a community of men that work diligently on uncovering who they truly are, and then they work even harder on being who they really are, which completely radicalizes the results that they get in their lives with respect to their faith, their fitness, their family, their finances, right? All of it. So that is what the restored man community is, as well as the ability to work with both of us in transforming your marriage, your body, your way of being.